Okay, guys, let me start sharing real quick here. Welcome to Creatio AI dedicated tech hour. My name is Yuri. I'm Creatio Academy trainer. I know for a fact that some of you already met here, and it was a great pleasure seeing some familiar faces. And obviously, you see that we trying to make some changes to the way we run this tech hours. So I will address that as well. But guys, I would really appreciate any cameras on if you're comfortable with it. That would be of great help. It's nice seeing you here. Uh, Today, we are joined by a colleague of mine, Burley Kawasaki, our VP for um, Marketing and Product Strategy. Hi, Burley. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks, Yuri.
So before we proceed, let's check into our agenda real quick, and then I will be running a poll by you, and then I will address how we want this tech hour to be and feel a bit different as we are trying new things. So as we proceed, our agenda for the day is a short summary on energy release, as it's been a while since the last tech hour, so we wanted to refer to it and to remind you what comes with energy release to give it in the context. Now, then we are going to visit the AI Command Center, which is the central operation hub for managing our AI skills. Then we will test some pre-built skills that come with Creatio out of the box, not all of them, just a few, to give you a better feel of what you can achieve employing Creatio AI skills. Then, super important one, I think, we are going to create our very own custom AI skill. And hopefully we will still have some time to maybe address some questions of yours. So at this point, I want to kind of do a temperature check and run a poll. I'm supported by a colleague of mine, Daga, if you don't mind running the poll. I want to check if you had any experience with Creatio AI at this point. And so please give it a vote. And meanwhile, Burley, if you don't mind, maybe we could refer back to what energy release brings to the table.
Yep. Yeah. So, as Yuri mentioned, we did our last tech hour focused on the energy release. We did the same week the energy release came out. Hopefully, you were able to attend. I'm not going to recap everything. Obviously, we'd love to have you go back and watch that if you haven't already. But I did want to spend just a moment just sort of recapping sort of the four major areas that were part of this exciting release. And so the first one was around the new unified AI architecture. And we talked about the benefits of the fact that Creatio AI is based on a single set of tools, a single management architecture that covers different patterns, not just sort of the traditional predictive AI, machine learning type of AI, but also including sort of newer patterns like generative AI, and also you're hearing a lot these days about agentic AI or agents, and you'll see this in action today. So Yuri will sort of go through some of the tools and how you build them and use Creatio AI. So that'll be really exciting. The second key investment area was really sort of to continue, a lot of the no code and composability investments that Creatio has been making for some time, and now extend that to the world of AI skills. And so, as you may remember, if you watched the first show, an AI skill is the term we're using that describes a new capability or a use case that Creatio AI learns. And so, just like you or I, learn new skills in our lives, so Creatio AI can learn new skills, and so these skills. You don't need a technical background. You'll see in action today, how one is built, both for some pre-built ones as well as building one from scratch. So super cool, but it's a no-code experience. The third pillar, which you will also see a bit of today, is the fact that you don't have to build all your own skills. We give you 20 out of the box for a variety of CRM and sort of general workflow and productivity skills. And so this allows you to instantly be able to sort of expand the types of uses of AI if you're one of the sort of CRM users. There's a bunch of sort of new features as well we don't have time to cover, but I encourage you to go back and watch the first tech hour and go online for more information about sort of feature enhancements to CRM. And then lastly, we aren't talking about a lot, but we are really focused on trying to accelerate adoption. We know that pricing and packaging confusion can pause people in terms of really learning about around Creatio AI. It's important to understand that there's no additional price, add-ons, or anything for Creatio AI. Any addition of the Creatio platform, even including trial, comes with all the features you need to do everything that Yuri is doing. We do have a consumption-based component. It's called a token, Creatio AI token. This, if you're familiar with other, LLMs like OpenAI or Anthropic, they all use a token, and so this is sort of a digital currency that we use. And so you just have to have enough tokens to support the LLM model usage. And we give you, again, a generous amount. We bundle in a lot of tokens with every edition of the platform. And then as you sort of move beyond a sandbox or a test environment and you want to start deploying this into real production, we give you the ability to add tokens on using a consumption-based model. And then also we give you a host of tools that you'll just sort of briefly see, but this allows you to manage the usage, the deployment, the allocation tokens across users or teams. So those are the four big themes of energy. We're going to focus today really on sort of the first and second pillars here, which is really going under the hood from an AI architecture and tools perspective. This is sort of just a visual, again, to make the point that Creatio AI spans multiple different patterns. And you'll see this in some of the hands-on work that Yuri does today, where he's going to mix predictive, it takes sort of the existing sort of machine learning models you already know how to use and how to build and pulls them into the new command center and allows you also to mix more generative and agentic patterns as well. So really cool that all three of these come together in one easy to use hub.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So before we jump into looking into that hub, Burley just mentioned, again, as you can see, we are trying Zoom this time. So we would appreciate, we want this to be a little bit more inviting for you to engage. So if you have any questions, Burley and I are not alone. We have few colleagues from Creatio who are supporting us, so they can also address your questions in chat. Some of them maybe we will be addressing with Burley. So feel free to ask any questions as we move along and to partake in today's sessions. So meanwhile, we'll start with the pit stop in what is called, just a second here, we'll start with the AI Command Center. So to navigate there, you would need to open the Workplaces menu and find the AI Command Center. As you navigate to AI Command Center, what you see are three sections, starting with Copilot Setup section. The Copilot Setup section is a list of all existing AI skills that you have. Those including the AI skills that are active, deactivating maybe for some testing, and also the skills that are in development. So we will explore the skills. We will move sort of back and forth. We are not going to explore everything in one touch. So we will be visiting these skills a few times. But let's take just a short glimpse of what a skill is. So as I open an AI skill, what you see here is a prompt. So an AI skill essentially allows you to use natural language to program some pretty amazing capabilities that we will test today. So this is a new no-code tool in Creatio no-code toolbox, again, using natural language where you can ask your LLM model to achieve certain outcomes. So this again, Copilot setup section that lists all your AI skills. Now, next,
Your list of skills might look a little different because obviously as you build your own custom ones, they'll be here too. But all the pre-built ones that come with the energy release, you'll see here as a starting point, which a lot of these are some of the pre-built ones.
next section that we'll visit is Copilot dashboards. So if you have any concerns on the AI pricing, so Burley already mentioned that they go free of charge, and you have the option indeed even to increase what is given out of the box. And then you want to have a space where you have a control over the usage of the tokens that Burley already mentioned. So this would be the Copilot dashboards section. In here, you can see the dynamics of the tokens usage by users, by AI skills. Which will maybe point you to the fact that maybe some users might require more tokens, some that don't use them. You might take them from them, and maybe some of the skills require some tuning or maybe further customization in order to optimize the token usage. So this is your safe space where you will be controlling how your AI skills are used by your users.
Yeah, there's a lot being written today right now about how users aren't really adopting AI like people think they should be. And this is one of those ways you can see who's actually using it, right? Are they using it, once a day? Are they using it 100 times a day, right? So you can see, who's using it and why are they using it? And this can help you make sort of realistic plans as you start to scale out. What are you going to need in terms of skills and tokens as you really scale up usage? Gives you all the data you need to help make those plans and to drive more user adoption and awareness.
And last but not least, something that already existed in Creatio, or do hope that you've been using it. These are ML models. So we are not going to investigate them today because this have been around for quite a while, but I do appreciate the fact that it is also in AI Command Center, because this creates a sort of the one hub, your AI Command Center central operation for managing and creating AI tools. And the fact that it's here also should encourage you to the idea that these two patterns, generic and predictive and agentic, they can't complement each other, right? So as you try your first skills and you develop your expertise with Creatio AI, try to think how you would implement ML models with the logics of the new Creatio AI. So with our next stop, we are going to check some of the out-of-the-box Creatio AI skills that come with the energy release. And when you think of AI skills, you could say that some skills are more product related, where others are not. Burley, maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, there's some skills that are intended to be used for certain parts of the application. So if you're a sales, user or a marketing user, the skill knows the context of the task that you as a sales, rep or as a marketing manager might be doing. Um, and you'll see that they are very sort of woven into the user experience of sort of the sales and marketing apps. However, there's another set of skills that are sort of broadly available for general productivity or general workflow. These are, you'll see things like enhancing or improving the tone on emails or messages, or these are things that are sort of universally available. And so we have a mix of both that's accessible to you. And you'll see more of these. I should have mentioned earlier that, we're going to be continuing to update the library of skills in the future. You'll see these on the marketplace. Just like any other component, you'll be able to go out and search for available AI skills from either Creatio or from partners that have published their skills. So this is going to be a very, ongoing and evolving list.
By the way, we do have, before we dive into something new, we do have a question here from Lily. How safe is Creatio AI from the perspective of data privacy and security? This is a great question, actually. And the short question would be that Creatio have no access to your data or messages that you send to Creatio AI. So what we're employing at this point is the Azure Open AI services, and neither prompts or completions are available to anyone or used in training. And I can see Raman's answer. Thank you, Raman. So Raman's offered a link to Creatio Academy article that explains more on the subject. But that article in itself, if you want to have even deeper dive into how your data is protected, that article in itself also has a link to Azure OpenAI service where there's in-depth explanation how they're using double encryption for the temporary data while your messages has to be processed, etc. But again, long story short, your data is 100% safe.
Yeah,
So
and the other thing to mention here is we're agnostic to LLM, so we're starting with OpenAI. That's the one that's available now. You'll see us add support for both Anthropic, Claude, as well as Gemini, Google Gemini. And the intent here is that regardless which LLM you use, you're secure, right? And so you're secured at really two levels. One is, as you pointed out, at a Creatio AI architecture, we enforce a number of security layers to ensure that we're not leaking data out to the LLM. We're protecting data privacy. We're anonymizing anything that gets sent out to the LLM. And then the secondary layer, as you heard, was with the LLM vendor themselves, we work with them to make sure that their encryption protocols or their security protocols are also enforced. So there's really two layers of security to ensure that your data is not externally used by any of the LLMs as at any point in the flow.
David, if you don't mind, and again, guys, because I received some direct messages to the questions, and I really appreciate all your questions, guys, but some of them do contain some text. So I'm supported again by some colleagues of mine. So they will pinpoint some questions, and I will be able to referring to, and moreover, they will be able to assist you live. So David, if you don't mind, and if anyone else also did the direct message, could you please copy paste that to all? I would really appreciate that. So back on track. What we are about to do, we are testing some of the Creatio AI skills that come out of the box. So I will start with service dedicated skills. So at this moment, I am in cases section. And if I open one of the cases, this is something that you're probably very familiar with. In order to open my Creatio AI helper, I'm using this new button here. And our standard user interaction would be doing the input in the message box over here. So for example, I know that we have some pre-built skills, so I would go summarize this case. But in fact, if you are creating AI skills that you predict, where you predict repetitive usage, it would be a good hygiene also to add such skills as a buttons to the page. As you can see them here, we already have summarize case as one of the options because this will greatly improve the user experience rather than giving the same input every single time I'm having a button to add that. And we will look into how to add these buttons as well, of course. So let's check into the AI skills. So first we will look into summarize skill. And when you're thinking of an AI skill, it is very important to understand for whom a skill was designed. It's better, you can create better rules for users to navigate through those skills. So, for example, summarize case skill wasn't essentially necessarily designed for the case assignees, right? The case assignee, case owner, the person responsible for processing a case, well, we do hope that they know about the case, that they know the context, right? So we don't know, we don't need, they won't need the summarization. But what happens very frequently, and these are the people that will appreciate this case, is, for example, if I'm processing this case, at a certain point, I've hit a wall, and so I need a colleague of mine, Caleb, to join this case and assist me with it. So what happens here, I would use a feed for that, but what happens here is Caleb, who might be a person with some great responsibility and very tight schedule, who knows nothing of this case, will go inside, and before he will be able to understand whether he's even able to help me, Caleb would be forced to go through all of the information, all the text messages, emails inside this case, all the information around the case in order to understand what it is, what this case is about, right? So now what Caleb would do, he would click summarize case here, and what system does, it takes the information from the current page, also from the connected objects, and we will look into how that is done as well, puts it all together into the context, and using the prompt processes Caleb's request, which is summarization of the case. So now we have our feedback. We have our status, the technical summary, and what are recent information. So rather than looking through all of this data, Caleb now has a real brief description and now better understanding whether or not he can assist.
Yeah, it's a great productivity saver, and you'll see when we go behind the scenes that the way that it gets formatted in terms of the level of depth, or even the formatting of the summary, is completely customizable by whoever designs the skill. So this is not just a canned routine that you can't modify. This is a no-code experience to make this as personalized or as detailed as you need it to be.
Next scenario would be now my supervisor probably on a timely manner would want to receive some system message as a pop-up with a random selection of records in order, to have a temperature check, to keep his hands on the pulse, how we, being our supervisor, how we, being support team, are doing, how we're processing our leads. So they would probably look into some of the cases and try to figure out whether we did fine, what were our interactions on the case, what were our input on the case, etc. So another time saver here is AI skill called case performance. So rather, again, than checking all the information here and trying to figure out on my own whether my support manager did good job, and if maybe I'm looking into a repetitive issue that should be addressed on a larger scale, maybe escalated to creating another case. So I'm using the summarization, I'm using the case performance skill. And what I received from Creatio AI is some metrics, escalation patterns, if any. Very important, the contribution of the agent, basically meaning how the support team manager contributed to the case resolution, key trends and insights, when necessary, improving training, and maybe some larger scale offerings like creating, in this case, um, uh, extra guide for our support team managers. So another great use case to save some time, right?
And this is showing a couple things. It's aggregating data, which is a huge savings, but it's also applying best practices, right? So you're looking at what are the KPIs or metrics that I want to use to analyze my business, and then it's also allowing you to take action. right? Potentially, and then to make it really easy for someone to follow up on this. So it's combining, a bunch of really powerful concepts into something that's very easy for everyone to use.
Exactly. So now something that was designed specifically to assignee. So I'm the case owner. It is my duty to cover this case, and I'm having hard time. So what I can do here is going for suggest case resolution skill, which is a different skill. It will look into the data, look into the articles that can cover the necessary topics. And based on that information, it will offer me my next steps. So first, some context, which suggests which steps were suggested previously. Then new suggestions that could resolve the case. Also links to relevant articles so that I can have a deeper dive into the details on the case resolution. So a extremely helpful tool for me when I really am struggling into what should be done in this case, which will save a lot of time and sweat, especially for the new joins to our team. So say we processed a case, right? So we're done with the case, and now this was something unique, and we want to then make a certain standardized solution out of it. So what I would do then, I would use create article skill. So based on this information, in this case, an article can be created. But sometimes, if I'm trying to employ an AI skill, not in the way that it was designed, so not in the way as it was purposed, I will receive a feedback from my Creatio AI helper. So the idea here is that Creatio AI tells me that, well, this case is not yet resolved. Uh, are you like 100% sure that you want to create an article? So I will say that yes, I'm quite sure. But the idea again here is that, well, oh, another feedback, which again, a great helper here, that we already have an article that was created from this same case. So maybe we won't contribute too much with creating a new article, but we're keep insisting. So again, a great feature that we actually receiving feedback. So these were the out-of-the-box skills that complement a lot how we process cases, and we can see that we can save tons of time employing those. But now we will look into two other skills that are not Creatio service related. So these are designed um, to improve the overall user experience, offering them some great and valid tools. So based on the information that we had in that case, a new article has been creating, but as is, it doesn't look great, right? It's just a lot of text. I mean, this is technically an article and it does contain useful information, but what I would want to do is to improve it a bit. So in Creatio, any field that has rich text data type, if I select the text in that field, sorry, a lot of overlays here getting in line. The presenting mode. Let me refresh real quick. And I maybe will open this page another. That is due to the fact that I'm having a lot of Zoom related overlays here. But again, it was very important to us guys that we try this new, more live approach. Yeah, there it is. So as you select a text in a rich text field, what you will see this floating button which will allow user to work with the selected text. So our options are to make this text more friendly, more formal, shorten, extend, or maybe rephrase. So at this point, it might seem a little bit short because it's based on the case information and we only have so much demo data, right? So my first action here as a user, as I'm creating this new article, I will ask Creatio AI to extend the text. And this is something that you probably tested in if you have some experience using any LLM models. So this is probably that you're more familiar with, but this is my initial input and this is the outcome. So now I have more text, even more structured, and maybe I want to then process it even further. So I will ask it to make it more structured. And again, I have the feedback with more pointers. So now this looks more like an article that we can work with. Another example for the AI skill that is not necessarily related to one of the Creatio products would be text translation. So being a global company, sometimes I will run into some records in the system. In this case, I have a record in knowledge base that is in Spanish. So in this case, my request would be translate this article in current page to English. So as you can see, in this particular case, as previously I was addressing text that was already in message box, but now I'm just referring to a current page. So this is where the context come from. So as I'm running a prompt, what happens here? Well, obviously I received my translation, but that's not the point. So as I'm running a prompt, the system requires from me some context. And what we have here is first the record data that is immediately available to AI skills, as long as it is designed to refer to it. Then also context from the message. But sometimes even that not enough. So on top of this, I can request extract some extra data from the system, include it into the context, and then to be processed by prompt. And to visualize that, we will visit one of the cases that we've used. So Burley, if you don't mind, just a short summarization on the skills that we have just.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. So just to sort of go back to the basics, you saw, the command center, how it's being used as a single place to hub to find all your skills, regardless whether it's one of the out-of-the-box pre-built ones or whether it's one of the ones that are created custom. And you'll see how to build custom one in just a minute. So everything we've been showing so far are all the pre-built ones. And you saw how then you can invoke them very easily and naturally from the side panel for Creatio AI. So that's really sort of, I think, the finishing of this particular chapter of what we're going to show you. Now we're going to go sort of behind the scenes to what it would look like if you actually wanted to build one of these yourself or extend one of these using the no-code design tools.
Thank you. So I can see that we have a lot of activity in chat, which is great, and we appreciate you guys asking questions. So back on track. Now I will open one of the skills that I was demonstrating earlier, which is, say, we'll look into case performance skill. So as we started, I've shown a skill that only consists of a prompt. But when we're working with the case performance, it is important to obtain some extra information that is not necessarily stored in the case record. For example, we have some external messages, we have some feed messages, and you know that there are separate objects. And well, you know how you can dig into a lot of relationships in Creatio, so we can obtain data simply from anywhere. So how would we achieve that? As part of the prompt, you will see, as you will look into some out-of-the-box prompts, and before testing out, I would really recommend you doing that to get a better feel on how these things work. So part of the prompt, you will see these elements that are calling for certain actions. And this is an action list. In this case, an action is designed to read data and provide some extra context to the skill. And what I love about this is that this is something that you know how to process all too well. Essentially, this is a business process designer. So what happens here, and we will again, we will create a skill of our own. So we will look into it even in a greater detail. But as a helicopter view, you run a business process, which is in your prompt. You ask your AI skill to run a business process. You read data, and we will not obviously concentrate on that. You know how to do that. You send it back just like you would be sending data back to the parent business process, and now you have extra context. In this case, in this way, not only you can read data, you can create new records, you can schedule things, another out-of-the-box skill that we have, and thus you are getting closer to an agentic pattern, right, Burley?
That's correct. Yeah. It's really easy to mix them, right? So, again, the benefit of having them all in sort of one tool set is you can combine them together as you need. You're not having to go in and out to different tools. Um,
So
the ability to combine data is also really important. I mean, you see how easy it is to pull data into your skill from inside Creatio, but again, using a workflow, you can go out and we'll talk about how easy it is to get data from external sources too. So really combines data from wherever it lives together, so that you can process it as part of a skill.
exactly. So at this point, I want to run another poll by you because we've looked into one of the products, the skills that were designed for service. So I want to run by you a poll suggesting where I want you to vote which area you would think will benefit the most from AI. Daga, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, we're getting your feedback. This will really be helpful for us in terms of our planning and prioritization. So obviously we've got a lot of our ideas, but we value your input and your feedback, so that will help us prioritize the building of more skills. As I mentioned, skills will be built on an ongoing basis and ultimately published into the marketplace so you can find them. So imagine a world where there's hundreds of skills, and so this is where we need your help in what you'd like to see.
Exactly. Let's give it a moment. Uh, so maybe we won't wait for everyone to vote at some point. I would really love to check the result if you don't mind, Daga. I'm kind of curious also. Okay then. So
Yeah, that's a
our
close call. I think process automation and sort of general process probably is useful because it's available everywhere. But I think depends on the user, and a lot of you seem to also be sales users. So we'll certainly be addressing all of these.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it will be a lot of fun to work with creating new business processes that would include AI skills, because this is something that we will cover on a later date probably. But with 8.2.1, we are also releasing a new business process element that will allow you to run AI skills immediately from business processes. And so in this way, you can create a more complex patterns when you will be managing and employing both your the brilliant capabilities of business process designer that we have, the ML models, and then Creatio AI, and thus putting all that together, all that functionality together in order to achieve. So again, I think this should be real fun. Okay, then. So our next stop is to create a new AI skill from scratch. For that, we are going to employ one of the web services that I have pre-configured. And I do encourage you to try this skill as well on your side. So the web service that I have is Bing Search. And it took me like 15 minutes to enable this web service. I've used the wizard, obviously. So I've used the URL for request parameters, example in JSON for response parameters. So 15 minutes. If you didn't know how to do that yet, make sure to visit another tech hour available on Creatio Academy website that is dedicated specifically to web services. So the web service is pre-configured, and we are going to employ that in order to do some web scraping and enrich account information based account data based on the information found on the internet. So I have this pre-configured a bit because, again, actions are business processes essentially, and you know already how to do that. So we won't waste time, but we will still look into them because there are a few things that I wanted to pinpoint. So in order to create our AI skill, well, one of the important thing that it may be not a given is the description of a skill. So previously, you probably only used description to communicate with your coworkers, like what this business process does, why do I need this element, etc. Now with AI skill, descriptions become very important because you can consider your Creatio AI assistant as being your coworker as well, sort of, right? So in this case, the description setting becomes very, very important. So I'm not concentrating, of course, on the title, code, you know what that means and what that stands for. But in this case, the description is important. So I'm providing something descriptive, enrichment of account data by searching for it on internet with Bing. So now when our user makes an input in the site panel, it is through this description that Creatio AI will recognize, well, it is time to run this skill. Now I had it deactivated, so obviously I will return it to active mode. And with the usage mode, something that I mentioned previously, you can create AI skills that will be part of the business process. Currently, there is a workaround, but in 8.2.1, which is very, very soon, you will have a new element available immediately in business process. So for such skills, you would be using the API usage mode. If you want a skill to be launched from chat, like the ones that we've tested today, the usage mode should be chat. Now to the prompt. Of course, I have it pre-configured. So this is our prompt. Your task is locate and find account details on the platform based on internet searches. Follow these steps. So first, retrieve account information, retrieve entity contextual data function. So some of the functions are available to you throughout the system. There is a Creatio Academy article. Roman, if you don't mind putting that article here, there's a Creatio article where you have those functions. So they are pre-configured. But for no-code developer, you simply can think of it like some of the system variables that we can use, like current user contact, right? This is something that we rely quite often on. So this would be an example of that. Now, next step would be one of the steps would be, for example, now run the activity called Bing search. So with this, we ask our Creatio AI to run through this activity. I'll open it. Sorry, I'll save it, of course. I'll open the action. And again, this is simply your business process, one element only. So what happens here is we are receiving parameters from Creatio AI. In this case, that would be the search query. And as a result of processing this element, which is Bing search, calling for web service, as a result of this element, we obtain some information stored as parameters, and we send it back. But few things that I wanted to pinpoint. Just like with description of AI skill that helps Creatio AI understand when this skill should be run, the process description has the very same importance. So with the description that you need to run action called Bing search, then skill looks into the process description, and if it is something that falls into the pattern of what should be done, then it will launch this action, which is also the business process. So this one, again, becomes super important. Also, as you are registering parameters of this business process, I know that some of you didn't care a lot about the direction of parameter. Should it be input, output, or usually quite a lot of you probably were using bidirectional for most of the cases. Now, this here, again, helps the AI skill to understand whether a parameter should be obtained or sent back. So with AI skills, it is very important to specify that, for example, in this case, we are receiving uh, uh, our values, and in this case, we are sending values in parameters back to our skill. So after running this action, our new skill already has some information on the account. Now, what we want to do is update the account and related data with the next action. I'm not going to stop too much on this, obviously. This is something that you've done a million times. So first, we modify account to add some data to it. And then with the next action, we also add data to related object, which is addresses. So I believe this is to be super simple. And again, I would encourage you to try this skill on your own. You need web service, which is again super simply to install. And with this skill, you already enable yourself to work with the Bing search results. I think this is pretty amazing. So now to testing. Burley, maybe any inputs on what we just.
Well, yeah, no, well, he's getting ready to show it. I'll just say this was meant to be a simple example, so it just uses Bing. But imagine this is going out to like an address verification service or some other third-party API, or it could be another internal system. So if you're a bank, let's say, and you want to go out and have your skill access in real time the core banking system behind that powers your banking processes, this can do that as well. So one of the really powerful things is you're not limited to just data inside Creatio. You can enrich the data, you can add related data all in real time, and as you heard, it's not just from sort of inside the skill, but we're adding programmatic access via API or via a process. So there's a lot of ways you can take advantage of this to pull together the data you need and then run this in whatever context you need to.
Exactly.
Well, let's
So
see this in
a lot of
action.
things.
I want
Yep.
to, I want to.
So let's go to our account section because the idea is here again to enrich an account using Bing search. So for that, well, I have some demo accounts, which obviously wouldn't work for a demo account. I will create something real, and that is going to be Creatio Australia. And in this point, obviously, I don't have any data behind this account because I only have well, title and who created this account, being myself supervisor. So now I will open my side panel with Creatio AI, and I will ask it to enrich. So now, what is happening? So based on description, first of all, the skill trying to understand whether or not the skill that we've just created should be run. If yes, then it looks through the prompt, and if certain actions are nested, and we do have them, they will also be taken into consideration. But I've also nested a, well, not a malfunction, but something that is, I wanted to showcase you that now you can program Creatio AI with the use of Creatio AI. Again, we can simply think of it as a coworker in a manner, in the manner of speaking, right? So first off, the information was indeed found, right? But the problem is that what we've customized, what we've expected to do is to update the account data and also an address, but it didn't happen. So now I can simply ask it, what went wrong? Why were you not able to do that? So my next input, trying to figure out as I'm working with my AI skill, and I'm simply asking Creatio AI, why were you not able to obtain account data? So the automated process to update the account data is currently inactive. And this is the issue. This is something that I've done on purpose yesterday. So now I understand that there is a process that which is inactive, and that process is updating the account data. So now I'm going to my process library. I'm going to process library. And yes, in fact, it is inactive, so this is why the data was not updated. So I will activate this business process first, back to accounts. I'll find my account, Creatio Australia, clear the contacts.
This could have been also added to the little top of the side panel as a quick action as well. That's one of the, if you have a frequently used
Mhm.
skill, you probably want to do that as well.
Yeah, we will look into that as well in a moment. So now hopefully I fixed the issue. And again, if the system returns an error message to your AI skill, uh, you can ask for that message. You can ask for that context, why something didn't happen. So let me refresh my page here. So I will refresh address. I have my address. I have my primary, and now we have the context. So our skill worked perfectly here. It searched for some information on Creatio Australia account using Bing search, and it updated the record itself. And now I have context. For example, who is their CEO?
That's really cool. We're almost out of time, so I think
Yeah.
let's.
So Um, well, let's give it a chance to answer this. Yeah, so we have Catherine Kostova and Link. And real quick, something that was mentioned. So how do we add these buttons to the list? That would be a special lookup, which is Copilot, an older version, intent in page. So this is a lookup, and you use your code of the skill. In my case, that would be test, and the page name, which it would be account form page. So the code of the skill, don't mix it with the name and the page name. So yeah, thank you, Burley. I think it is indeed time to wrap it up. So let's summarize what we've seen today.
Yeah, here's going to pull up, I think, just one or two closing slides. We covered a lot, and so I know you probably want to spend some more time with the documentation online. Um, if you can pull up the slide that has the list of the skills, I think that's the next slide. Yeah. So this is a list of the current sort of out of the box skills, both the app specific ones that you see here on the left, plus the general productivity ones available anywhere. There's a article on Academy though that will be updated as we add more skills. So you see the link, and you can go and learn more about what the skill is, how to use it, etc. So good resource to have as you are starting out and looking for examples. These are all built and defined by, sort of our best practices, and so gives you some examples on proper prompt or proper action definition and configuration. So next slide, and then I think I will wrap up. And I don't know if we have time to take any last minute questions, but just to summarize, we saw a ton of things today, really focused around, the AI sort of designer, capabilities inside Copilot. You saw also some of the management and reporting capabilities on usage of skills. You saw, how no code of an experience it was. It's all English language, prompts, visual drag and drop, so very much no code. And you saw, a number of the out of the box sort of pre-built CRM skills. So tried to put as much as we could into an hour. There is a lot more to talk about in the energy release. This was a deep dive onto Creatio AI, but we're really excited about some of the new things. In particular, one of the topics we get a lot of questions about is around some of the new email marketing capabilities. So stay tuned. That one will be coming up soon as a standalone tech hour. We're going to go into some of the depth behind the new designer and talk about some of perhaps the other marketing capabilities as well that are part of the 8.2 release.
Yeah. So Doug, if you don't mind, we want to start a test. How did we do today? If you don't mind running a poll on the confidence.
Yeah, your feedback is super important. This is a new format. We're still trying out Zoom, so would love any, feedback on how to make it better. But we wanted to constantly try to improve and make it more interactive. So hopefully this is giving you new ways to engage with us and and learn a lot. So really appreciate your feedback.
Yeah, and I would also really would be interesting in the feedback. So let's give it a moment to roll and let's check what the results are.
Yeah, and I don't
Thank
know
you,
if
John. Appreciate it.
we probably haven't been able to get all the way through the questions, or maybe we have, but certainly we'll continue to sort of update some of the FAQs and guidelines online. And if you have anything that you really needed to ask but didn't have time, follow up with us directly afterwards, and we'll be happy to help make sure you're getting the support or guidance you need around Creatio AI.
Yeah, exactly. Great session, guys. Thank you. A lot of questions, even more than we anticipated. Great kudos to colleagues of mine. So as far as I can see, they have all been addressed. And yeah, we do hope to see you with the next Tech Hour. Thank you for joining today.
Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Patient all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.